Many years ago, in the beautiful city of Lagos, there lived a beautiful girl named Bisi. Bisi is a fresh graduate who was looking for a job but couldn't find, as she had tried submitting her CV to various companies, but no one got back to her. One day, when she was returning back from a company she had just submitted her CV, she saw her long-term roommate named Lola. Lola was working in a very big multinational beauty company. That particular company has always been Bisi's dream. Bisi had always envisioned herself working in that particular company. And while they were chatting and gisting and exchanging pleasantry, Lola quickly told her that the boss was looking for a PA where she worked. And Bisi quickly asked if she could please submit her CV on her behalf, to which Lola said, "That's not an issue. I can obviously do that for you." Lola collected Bisi's CV and helped submit it for her. Bisi was called for an interview. During the interview, she couldn't just stop admiring the boss. He was so handsome, well built, so organized. Bisi kept on looking at him. She had so many thoughts in her head. She had already envisioned a lot while sitting and waiting for her turn. After the interview was done, to her greatest surprise, she got the feedback from the company inviting her for a final interview, to which she attended, and to her greatest surprise, she got the job of a PA to Tunde Akiola. This was like a dream come true. Who would have ever thought? She kept on celebrating. She was so glad. She was so grateful. She told herself, "Thank God I met Lola that day. If I had not met Lola, how would I have gotten this job? God, I'm so grateful." She was so glad. She couldn't wait to share the good news with her parents. She quickly called them on phone and told them of the great news, how she had gotten a job in her dream company, and she was preparing to go shopping, and she couldn't snooze in any way. Her mom was really excited. Her mom was glad. Seeing her daughter so happy was something she had always looked forward to. Having been that Bisi had searched for a job for 6 months and hadn't seen anyone. So, with this, Bisi resumed job in Crescent's beauty empire. The first day she walked into the company, she quickly introduced herself to the staff she met. But like magic, she noticed that everyone referred to her as Bibi. And she quickly asked herself, did they just give me a nickname? My name is Bisi. Why call me Bibi? And she was taken aback because even the staff she had told her name, and even the ones she had not yet told her name, all called her Bibi. Do they give a nickname in this company? Does everyone get a nickname? But when she called her friend Lola, Lola told her she had no idea about that, and probably they just picked Bibi for her. But she wasn't comfortable with it. Her name was Bisi and not Bibi, so no one should refer to her as Bibi. Working for Tunde wasn't as easy as Bisi thought. As Tunde, even though he's a billionaire, was a very strict workaholic, and he kept his life so private. No one knew anything about him. None of the worker knew where he lived, as whatsoever business he had, he made sure it ended in the work premises. No one was permitted to bring work stuff to his house. No one was permitted to call him at a particular time of the night. There was so much rules, and Bisi was supposed to keep up to those rules, as Tunde was someone that don't take mistake. He always told his PA, "You're not permitted to make mistake, provided you're working for me. I need my job done quick and fast, and I don't want errors." This made Bisi sit up. Most times when the other staffs were closing for the day, Bisi was not done with her job, so she had to remain back, trying to round up with her job, knowing fully well that if she took anyone over, Tunde was going to give her a query of her life, and she didn't want to start her job with a bad reputation, so she made sure to always finish her job every day before she closed. But one thing she observed was that Tunde was the last person to leave the office every day. Tunde made sure he cleared his decks before leaving. He made sure he finished everything he had to do. When Bisi was given the job, she was placed under probation for a period of 3 months, as Tunde wanted to really observe her. He didn't want to give the work to her, and after a few months, she was going to quit. So she was placed under probation. So Bisi did everything to prove that she was worthy of the space. Bisi worked extra time. Bisi did everything possible to make sure that she was worthy of being placed as his PA. One day, while Bisi was done working for the day, as late as 9 p.m., she had entered Tunde's office to tell him that she was leaving, as usual. But when she got to Tunde's desk, she noticed that Tunde wasn't responding. Instead, his heads were placed down on the table, and she quickly touched him to take permission. But she noticed that he was running serious temperature. He had fever that night. So Bisi quickly carried him up and placed him on the chair in his office and tried to clean his body with a towel. But while at it, she noticed that the fever had dropped a bit, so she decided to go home since she had done her best. But while she was about stepping out, Tunde quickly grabbed her hand and called the same name everyone called her, Bibi. Please don't go. Stay with me. This was his exact words. And it rang in Bisi's head. Who is this baby everyone is calling me? Who is she? And why is my boss also calling me Bibi? So Bisi came closer to him, and immediately Tunde leaned on her. He just wanted someone to comfort him as he was really, really down. After a few hours, when Tunde had slept up completely, she went home. But when she got home, she asked Lola again, who is Bibi? As not just everyone in the company calls me Bibi, even my boss Tunde calls me Bibi. So what's the issue? How come they all call me Bibi? But Lola told her that she had no idea who Bibi was and why they called her Bibi, as she had just joined the company not too long, so she wasn't the right person to question. Probably she could make out time and ask one of the older staff why they referred to her as Bibi. But unlike what Bisi expected, the next day Tunde acted normal. He did not even act like he had placed his head on her to rest the previous night. He just acted like she was invisible as usual. The moment he entered, he asked for his coffee and returned back to work. Bisi was a bit surprised and she was taken aback. Shouldn't he be saying thank you? He was supposed to say thank you. What if he had left him? I don't get. Why is he being so mannerless? At least I deserve a thank you. But she couldn't question him. All she did was to carry his coffee and take it straight to his office. When she dropped the coffee for Tunde, Tunde quickly told her, "You'll be following me for a fashion show this Saturday. Please get yourself ready. I don't want excuse. The moment I come to your place to pick you up, you must be ready. I want to wait an extra 5 minutes for you." To which Bisi said, "Okay, sir. Thank you very much." Deep down, she was so grateful that she was going for this fashion show. Not because she had any idea of what it would be like, but she was so glad this was her first fashion show. And she wasn't just going alone, but she was going with her boss, the Tunde, the rich one. She was really, really glad. At least, she won't be given the back seat. She will also be sitting in front so as to observe what was going on. On the day of the fashion show, Lola helped to get Bisi ready. Lola did her a very beautiful makeup and Bisi wore a beautiful red dinner dress. The moment Tunde came to pick her, he couldn't recognize her. She was so beautiful. She was stunning. Like he was lost for a moment. He didn't even believe that was his PA. For the fashion show they were going for, Tunde's makeup products were used on the models. So he wanted to know if they were done properly. He didn't want someone to use his product and not give the exact look he was expecting the product to give. And that was the major reason he was attending the fashion show. And to his greatest surprise, when he went there, all models were given a nice beat. The makeup came out well, the blush stood out. Everything came out well and he was so glad. After the fashion show, Bisi had followed him to his house as she had to drop off lots of gifts that he got during the fashion show, both flowers and other gifts. So she decided to stop by his home to help drop it inside. He gave her the permission to do that, as Tunde does not and have never allowed any of his staff to follow him home. So while Bisi was taking in what they had gotten from the fashion show, Tunde decided to go shower quickly. And when he was done having his bath and changing to a proper nightwear, he noticed that Bisi wasn't done. When she was totally done offloading the boat, he asked if she could wait for a glass of wine, to which Bisi said no problem. So they sat down and shared a bottle of wine. While on it, they spoke. Tunde decided to get to know more about Bisi. While they talk, Bisi told Tunde about her life, how she came from a very simple family, a family of 4, just she and her brother, and how things were for them. Tunde listened carefully and not said anything. While they were drinking the wine, Bisi started feeling tipsy. So as Tunde, Bisi gradually leaned on Tunde, but the moment she recognized what she had done, she quickly stood up and wanted to leave. And yet again, Tunde held her tight and asked her not to leave. Bisi was confused. What was going on here? Why is he asking me not to leave? Tunde dragged her close to the couch and leaned on her. But this time around, he gave her a passionate kiss, hugging her tight and pleading with her to stay. Bisi was a bit confused. What was going on here? Is he hallucinating? Does he have bad dreams? Why is he doing this? Does he do it with all his PA? So many questions were running down her mind, but no one could answer. And who is this Bibi? Why does he always call me Bibi? He calls me Bisi during the day, but whenever he wants me not to leave, he refers to me as Bibi. Who is Bibi? She thought to herself. So Bisi remained with Tunde, but the next morning when she woke up, Tunde had woken up and had his bath and was really prepared to go to work. Bisi was so embarrassed as she had to go to her house to change first. So she left Tunde's house in a hurry and ran straight home to change. When she got to her house, she didn't have time to eat breakfast or anything. She just quickly entered the shower, had her bath, changed her clothes and started running to the office. But on getting to the office, Tunde screamed at her for coming to work very late. Bisi was taken aback. Why is he doing that? What's the meaning of this? I don't get. I was with him. So why is he shouting at me for coming to work late when he knew everything that had happened? But Tunde had no emotion in his face. Instead, he looked at her and told her, do you think the world revolves around you? I don't get. Is it because I decided to take you for a fashion show and that's why you decide to come to work late? Please and please, you know you're still under probation. This shouldn't repeat itself again. To which Bisi said, I'm sorry, sir. I'm deeply sorry. It won't repeat itself. But when she got to her seat, she couldn't shake it off. How come Tunde is different during the day and different at night? Was he playing? What kind of life is that? And what kind of game is that? She was totally confused. But Bisi wanted to really know who Bibi was and why everybody was referring to her as Bibi. Even though she had spoken to the older staff, the staff still pretended not to know why everyone was calling her Bibi. And Bisi told herself the only way to get this information was to get it out of Tunde's mouth, as Tunde also referred to her as Bibi. But while trying to get this information out of Tunde's mouth, she found herself falling for him, as she purposely made herself available to his beck and call demands. Whenever Tunde wanted something, she was always willing to go, trying to know why Tunde always referred to her as Bibi. But as the days went by, Tunde and Bisi always stayed back in the office. Whenever she was about to leave, Tunde was going to gladly offer her a glass of wine or offer to drop her. Whenever she decides to take a glass of wine with him, they get talking, and she noticed that they shared deep emotions. They spoke deeply. They spoke about their feelings. They spoke about how they wanted life to be. And Bisi found herself falling for Tunde. Tunde, on the other part, was also falling for Bisi. And one day, while they were discussing about things, about work, Tunde leaned a bit close to her. And before she could know what was happening, both of them were kissing. And it was so passionate that she felt it deep within. It was something she couldn't just forget within a twinkle of an eye. It was just the way she always imagined her first kiss to be. And she told herself, if Tunde was this romantic, this nice, this sweet talker, how come he's quite different during the day? Is he suffering from bipolar disorder? Why is he so romantic and nice at night, but a total different person during the day? But no one could answer the question, as even Tunde wasn't willing to speak about anything. Whenever she was done with work and they were together, they were only talking about themselves and their love life. But one thing Bisi was 100% sure was that Tunde had never ever opened his mouth for one day to say he loved her. To Tunde, he felt that they were matured enough and the feeling was mutual. They didn't have to say it with their mouth. They were two grown adults and they were enjoying everything that came with it. Though deep within, he was dying for her. He wanted more than what they had. He wanted to always have her, but too scared to express his feelings. One certain day, after all the staff had gone back home, Bisi and Tunde had decided to stay back in the office to hang out and do their normal stuff. So, Tunde quickly asked Bisi to get the champagne from where he had kept it. But the moment she opened the drawer, she saw a picture of herself, but that wasn't her. She could swear she had never taken such a picture. And that was when she knew something was up. And she quickly brought out the picture and asked Tunde who was in the picture. But rather than Tunde answering the question, Tunde picked up his suitcase and his jacket and told her, "You've ruined the moment. You've ruined everything. You've ruined the night." And he left. Bisi was so upset. She was so angry. She was still trying to deal with the fact that Tunde pretends to know nothing during the day. And now Tunde couldn't speak up. Tunde couldn't say who the lady in the picture was. This was someone that was a replica of her. She was seeing herself in this lady. This lady looks exactly like her. But nobody wanted to say anything. Nobody was willing to talk. So how was she going to figure out who this lady was? She had decided to do numerous research, checking the company folder, but there was no lady with the name Bibi, as even the HR she had pleaded with couldn't give her access to the files of the staff. But the HR told her that there was no lady in the company who was named Bibi. This got Bisi thinking. How was she going to figure it out? Was Tunde seeing her as a woman he once loved? And was everyone in the company seeing her as Bibi? And who is this Bibi? So Bisi decided to keep calm about knowing who Bibi was, and also told herself she was going to take it one step at a time. She wasn't going to force the response from Tunde, but at the same time she was going to gradually get the information. But that was very difficult, as Tunde was a very uptight man. He wasn't willing to spill anything. Bisi tried for days. She wasn't able. Tunde just enjoyed their company, how they hung out at night, had fun, and did whatsoever they wanted to do. He was okay with that. Tunde refused confessing his feelings for her. Too scared to do that. So one certain day, a company was launching their products and Tunde was invited as usual. During this product launch, Bisi met a very young, handsome, charming guy named Mike. Mike was every girl's dream. Mike isn't just handsome, but he's also very, very rich. The moment Mike saw Bisi, he was captivated. He loved her look, her figure, the way she smiled. And that moment, he walked up to her and got talking. Like magic, they flowed very well that they didn't know when the product launch had ended. They kept on talking. It felt like she knew Mike long back. Mike was a sweet soul, a very nice person to hang around with. So, Mike and Bissy quickly exchanged the number and promised to keep in touch. Mike always called Bissy, trying to check up on her, trying to know how she was and everything. At this point, Bissy became so confused. She really had feelings for Tunde, but she was too scared as Tunde wasn't someone to open up. Tunde enjoyed the night affair and pretended to be a total different person during the day. But for Mike, Mike was every girl's dream. Mike was a very loving man. Mike was a sweet soul. Mike was everything she had ever wanted in a man. With this, she had to speak to her friend Lola and telling her friend that she didn't want to feel like she had betrayed Tunde. Lola told her to follow her heart. What does her heart want? The heart will always want what it wants. But Bissy told Lola that her heart genuinely wants Tunde. But because Tunde isn't an easygoing person, she feels like she was going to go for Mike. As Mike compliments her in every way, and Mike makes her feel comfortable. Mike doesn't make her feel less of herself. To which Lola told her, no problem. I am in full support of whosoever you follow, provided you're happy. And that was all that mattered. So Bissy decided to take Mike serious and they started dating for real, hanging out. Tunde, on the other part, gradually started missing Bissy as Bissy tried to clear her decks before 6 a.m. so as to clock out the moment it was 6 p.m. So the moment she leaves, it was only Tunde that was left in the office. He soon got bored. The office that used to feel like a loving place for him became an island as there was no Bissy, no one to talk to, no one to share emotions with. And he quickly asked himself, am I going to sit here and watch her slip off my hands? Because I just don't want to tell her the true reason why everyone refers to her as Bibi. Tunde, being too proud, told himself probably he was just getting too emotional. Nothing was meant to happen between both of them. Unlike what he thought, he found out that he couldn't sleep at night. He was always lost in thoughts, thinking about Bissy. He wanted her closer than ever. He wanted everything about her. He wanted her all to himself. He wasn't willing to share her with anyone. And at this point, he knew he was really in love with Bissy. But everything was coming too late for Tunde, as not just that Mike had taken Bissy serious, but Mike had already proposed to Bissy. The moment Bissy walked into the office, putting on an engagement ring, Tunde knew he had lost. He knew his pride and so many things had prevented him from speaking up. But he still felt it was better to tell Bissy the truth, who Bibi really was. So that evening, while Bissy was about to leave the office, Tunde quickly stopped her and asked if they could talk. To which Bissy said no problem. And Tunde sat her down and told her everything about Bibi, who Bibi really was. Bibi, he said, is my first PA. She was the first personal assistant I had the moment my mom handed over the beauty empire to me. Bibi was my thick and thin. Bibi was everything I needed as a new boss. She guided me. She showed me the path towards this beauty empire. She taught me a lot of things I never knew about cosmetics. She taught me the perfect blend of so many things. And the very moment I confirmed my feelings for her, the very moment I knew I was in love with her and I really wanted to tell her. That day, while she was crossing the road, I witnessed a car hit her. She was running to meet me and I was also trying to go and meet her. So when I saw you, I actually felt you were Bibi. And that was why most people in the company called you Bibi. I had told everyone never to talk about Bibi. And probably you would have tried getting some information and you weren't able to. She was my pillar, my love and everything. I wasn't scared to open up to you. I wasn't scared to tell you how much I love you. I was only scared to lose you. I felt that if I eventually confess my feelings to you the way I did to her, probably I was going to lose you the way I did. Her name was actually Bisola and not Bibi. We named her Baby. And while he was talking, Bisi found herself tearing up. She didn't know why, but she could see sincerity in whatsoever he said. And deep down, she really loved Tunde. And when Tunde was done talking, he told her, I'm very sorry that I'm telling you all this late. I know you and Mike are now 18, but I really wish and I hope that you're going to give me a chance to prove my love to you. Bisi just looked at him and said, thank you very much for telling me, but I think it's too late. And she left. But when she got back home, she knew those words were a lie. She really loved Tunde. Tunde was the first man she did everything with. Tunde was the man she loved. And she quickly called Mike and apologized to Mike and told Mike everything that had happened between she and Tunde and pleaded with Mike to understand her. To which Mike did and told her, I'm very, very grateful that you came clean to me. It's better you go to a man you love rather than getting married to me. And at the end of the day, we don't end up living happy. I'm so glad that you came clean before the wedding. Bisi was so grateful that Mike totally understood everything. And that was how Bisi returned back to the arms of Tunde. Tunde was so glad. He was so happy. He never knew that this particular baby was going to stay with him. Tunde and Bisi got married and lived happily ever after. His fear of losing her never came because they didn't just have one kid, but they had a total of 4 kids. The end. Thank you very much for listening to the story of the day. I would like you to share what you've learned from the story or something you want to say about the story. Please do not forget to support us by liking, subscribing, turning on the notification bell. Till we meet again in our next, we still remain your favorite storyteller, Zika. Bye for now.